I'm 92 years old, and before you decide whether you want to listen to me or not, let me tell you something very honestly. I am not here to scare you. I am not here to impress you. And I am not here because I think my life was perfect. I am here because I have reached an age where the truth becomes very quiet, but very clear. And if you are listening to this right now, it means you still have something I no longer have in abundance, time, and I know you might already be thinking that you've heard this before, that everyone says time is precious, that life is short, that someday we will regret things, but please understand this. Those words do not mean the same thing when you are young as they do when you are sitting where I am sitting now, with hands that move slower, memories that arrive uninvited, and a body that reminds you every morning that it has been carrying you for a very long time. Because when you are young, time feels theoretical, but when you are old, time becomes physical. You feel it in your bones, in your breath, in the silence after conversations. And the reason I am speaking now is not because I finally became wise, but because I finally became honest with myself. And honesty comes late for many of us, far too late. I have lived through wars, through economic collapse, through inventions that changed how humans speak to each other, through the rise and fall of entire generations. And yet the most important lessons I learned did not come from history books or tragedies or even loss. They came from ordinary days that I misunderstood while I was living them. Days I thought were nothing. Days I rushed through. Days I treated as placeholders for something better that I believed was coming later. And if I could reach through this microphone and place one feeling into your chest right now, it would not be fear. It would be awareness. Because awareness is the only thing that ever saved me. And unfortunately, it arrived after I had already wasted too much. When I was younger, I believed life was about endurance, about pushing through, about surviving long enough to finally relax. I believed happiness was something earned after struggle, after responsibility, after sacrifice. And that belief shaped every decision I made without me even realizing it. I woke up tired and told myself that was normal. I postponed joy and told myself that was maturity. I ignored my body and told myself that was strength. And I delayed conversations, love, rest, forgiveness, and presence because I truly believed there would always be more opportunities later. And this belief was never questioned because everyone around me was doing the same thing. We congratulated each other for being busy. We admired exhaustion. We praised sacrifice without asking what it was costing us. And slowly, very slowly, life became something I managed instead of something I lived. And I didn't notice when this happened because it doesn't announce itself. There is no moment where a voice says, now you are on autopilot. It just happens quietly. One rushed morning at a time, one ignored ache at a time, one conversation half listened to at a time. And the most dangerous part is that nothing feels wrong at first. Everything feels functional, productive, acceptable, until one day you look back and realize that most of your life passed without your full attention. And attention is the real currency of life. Not money, not success, not even health. Because without attention, you can be healthy and still absent, successful and still empty, surrounded by people and still alone. And I know some of you listening might already be thinking, this woman sounds like she regrets her life, but that is not entirely true. I do not regret my entire life. I regret how little of it I was actually present for, because presence is what turns moments into memories. And without it, years blur together into a dull, exhausting fog. When you reach my age, you do not remember your busiest days. You remember the days you felt seen, the days you laughed without checking the time, the days your body felt light because your mind was not carrying tomorrow on its back, and those days were available to me far more often than I allowed myself to believe. But I kept telling myself, not now, not yet. after this responsibility, after this problem, after this phase of life. And phases of life have a way of chaining together endlessly, one replacing another, until suddenly you are old and wondering when you became old. Because inside, you still feel like the same person who thought she had plenty of time, and your body becomes the first place where this illusion cracks, because the body remembers what the mind ignores. It keeps score quietly. It absorbs every night of poor rest, every meal eaten in stress, every emotion swallowed instead of expressed, every boundary never set. And when you are young, the body forgives quickly. It compensates. It recovers. It whispers warnings so softly that you mistake them for inconvenience. But as years pass, those whispers become clearer. Not because the body is punishing you, but because it is asking you to finally listen. And I wish I could tell you that I listened early, but I did not. I treated tiredness like a weakness, pain like an enemy, rest like laziness. And by the time I realized my body was not my opponent, but my messenger, it had already carried me through decades of neglect with quiet loyalty. And that loyalty is something I now respect deeply, because the body does not age to betray you. It ages to protect you. It slows you down so you might finally notice your life. It reduces excess so you can focus on what matters. It asks for gentleness because force no longer serves the same purpose. And this is something no one tells you when you are young. Aging is not the body failing. It is the body reprioritizing, and the tragedy is not aging itself. The tragedy is resisting it instead of learning from it. Because when you resist, you create suffering on top of change, and suffering is optional more often than we realize. One of the hardest truths I had to accept was that many of my regrets were not caused by bad decisions, but by unconscious ones. Decisions made without asking myself how I wanted to feel at the end of my life. Decisions made based on fear, expectation, and habit rather than alignment. And you do not feel the weight of those decisions immediately. You feel them later when your calendar is empty, when your phone is quiet, when you have time to think but fewer people to share those thoughts with. And that is why I am speaking now, not because you need to overhaul your life, but because you need to pay attention to it. Because attention changes everything. It changes how you eat, how you rest, how you love, how you speak, how you listen, and how you treat yourself when no one else is watching. And if there is one thing I have learned in 92 years, it is that life does not ask for perfection. It asks for presence. And presence is something you can begin practicing today. Not when you retire, not when things calm down, not when you feel ready, but now, because readiness is another illusion we cling to. We think one day we will wake up feeling prepared to live fully, but that day does not arrive. Life does not wait for confidence. It responds to courage, quiet, imperfect courage. The kind that chooses to pause instead of rush, to feel instead of numb, to speak instead of swallow, and to rest instead of prove. And if you are still listening to me right now, it means something in you already understands this, even if you have not fully named it yet. And that understanding is precious because it is the beginning of a different relationship with time, one where time is not something you fight or chase, but something you inhabit, moment by moment, breath by breath. And in the next part, I want to talk to you about something even more difficult, the specific moments people regret the most when they reach my age. Not the dramatic mistakes, but the quiet patterns that slowly shape an entire life. Patterns so ordinary that you might be living inside them right now without realizing it. And if I can help you see them earlier than I did, then speaking today will have been worth it. Now, I want to talk to you about the regrets people like me carry quietly, the kind no one posts about, the kind that don't show up in photo albums or resumes, because when you reach my age, you don't regret the risks you took and failed at. You regret the moments you stayed silent, the times you were present in body but absent in mind, the love you rationed as if it were scarce, the rest you postponed as if exhaustion were a badge of honor. And this might surprise you, but most regrets are not loud. They are not dramatic. They are subtle and cumulative, like dust settling day after day until suddenly you realize you've been breathing it your entire life. And the most common regret I hear from people my age is not, "I wish I had been more successful." It is, "I wish I had slowed down sooner." Because slowing down is not about doing less, it is about feeling more. And when you don't slow down, you miss the small moments that later become the only ones that matter. You miss the tone in someone's voice, the look in their eyes when they needed you, the way your own body was asking for care long before it demanded it. And one of the cruelest tricks time plays is convincing you that ordinary days are disposable, that today is just another day, that nothing important is happening. But I promise you, when you are old, ordinary days are all you remember. The dramatic moments blur, but the ordinary ones glow, and that is why regret so often attaches itself to things that seemed insignificant at the time, like the afternoon you chose work over sitting with someone you loved, the evening you scrolled instead of listening, the weekend you told yourself you'd rest later and later quietly disappeared. And another regret that arrives very late is realizing how often we tried to earn love instead of simply allowing it. We believed we had to be useful, productive, agreeable, impressive, or strong to deserve care, and in doing so, we trained ourselves to hide our needs. And when you hide your needs long enough, even the people who love you stop seeing them, not because they don't care, but because you taught them not to look. And then one day you feel invisible and wonder how it happened. And the truth is, invisibility is often practiced, not imposed, and this realization hurts, but it also frees you, because it means you can choose differently while you still can. Another regret that surfaces late is how harsh we were with our own bodies, especially when they were young and resilient. We treated them like machines, pushing through pain, ignoring fatigue, postponing care, and when the body finally slows down, we feel betrayed. But the body never betrayed us. It adapted, it compensated, it protected us until it could no longer do so silently. And if I could speak to my younger self, I would tell her this: your body is not an obstacle to your life. It is the place where your life happens, and how you treat it is how you treat your future. And this is something I want you to hear clearly. Aging is not the problem. Resistance is. Resistance to rest, resistance to change, resistance to vulnerability, resistance to the truth that you are not meant to live at the same pace forever. And one of the deepest regrets people my age carry is not allowing themselves to evolve, clinging to identities that no longer fit, roles that drained them, expectations that belonged to someone else's idea of success. And letting go feels scary when you are young because you think it means losing momentum. But when you are old, you realize letting go is what creates space. Space for peace, space for connection, space for yourself. And perhaps the most painful regret of all is realizing how often we waited for permission. Permission to rest, permission to be happy, permission to choose ourselves, permission to live differently, and permission rarely arrives. Life does not hand you a certificate saying, now it's okay. You must decide that for yourself. And deciding late is still better than never, but deciding early is a gift beyond measure. And I know some of you listening are thinking, this is heavy, this is uncomfortable, but discomfort is not the enemy. avoidance is. Discomfort is often the doorway to clarity, and clarity is the most compassionate thing you can give yourself, because clarity allows you to course correct while there is still time. And when I say time, I don't mean years, I mean today. Because today is where life actually exists, not in plans, not in memories, but in this moment, and moments are fragile. They do not wait for you to feel ready. They pass whether you are present or not. And presence is a skill, not a personality trait. It is something you practice imperfectly, daily, and you will forget. You will drift. You will fall back into autopilot. And that is not failure. The real work is noticing and returning again and again to your breath, to your body, to the person in front of you, to yourself. And if you ask me what I wish I had done differently in 92 years, the answer is simple but not easy. I wish I had noticed sooner, noticed my life as it was happening instead of waiting for it to become something else. And you still have that chance, regardless of your age, because regret is not about how old you are. It is about how awake you are, and you can wake up at any moment. And if my voice reaches you and causes even a small pause, even a quiet reflection, even a single different choice today, then this conversation has meaning, because the goal is not to live without regret. That is unrealistic. The goal is to live with awareness, because awareness softens regret and turns it into wisdom. And wisdom is not something you collect. It is something you practice moment by moment through attention, kindness, honesty, and gentleness, especially with yourself. And if there is one final thing I want to leave you with, it is this: do not wait for life to slow you down. Learn to slow yourself. Do not wait for loss to teach you love. Practice love now. Do not wait for your body to force rest upon you. Choose rest before it becomes necessary. And do not wait until you are old to value the ordinary moments you are living right now, because one day, if you are lucky enough to reach my age, those ordinary moments will be the ones that visit you most often, and you will either greet them with gratitude or with regret. And that choice, more than anything else, is being made right now.